More millennials want to live like irresponsible Gen Zers. More millennials want to live like irresponsible Gen Zers. A lot of millennials are looking at the lifestyle of Gen Zers and saying, you know what, I want some of that. A lot of these, unfortunately, a lot of these millennials are completely misguided, but they think that Gen Zers are living the lives that they want to live. They're free, but in reality, they're just irresponsible. And it's going to catch up to them. Watch the end of the video to fully understand why more millennials want to live like irresponsible Gen Zers and how this is going to affect society going forward. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video. So as you can see here, the article we're looking at is I'm titled I'm a Millennial. Here are 11 reasons why I wish I was Gen Z. So Gen Z is very responsible. These are people that will literally leave their jobs midway through the day and not tell anyone that they're going home or going to go get high. That's just how Gen Z are. Millennial burnout is a very real thing. Millennial fatigue is a very real thing, and we don't talk about it at all. That millennials are going to start to fall apart at some point and begin dropping out of the workforce or pulling back from the workforce. So the article starts off by saying boomers, millennials, uh, Generation Z. The only thing we have in common is that we all hate each other, right? And that we all collectively have forgotten Gen X even exists. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so they make sure to throw some shade at us over at us Xers. They can go to hell. That's the narrative that gets propagated. That an endless generational battle lies at the heart of the culture wars, stoked every month or so by another grenade lobbed over the parapet. The latest skirmish is firmly between millennials and Gen Z. You'll be walking along thinking everything is fine, only to be hit by a bit of shrapnel. Pow! A 23-year-old bystander points and laughs at your ankle socks decorated with sausage dogs. Boom! A younger colleague rolls their eyes with disdain upon hearing you make another friend's reference. Zap! You get eviscerated by TikTokers for trying to get in on the brat summer trend when it's clear you have only the sketchiest grasp of the concept. Something to do with taking substances, illegal substances, and not brushing your hair and voting for Kamala Harris. From surface level nonsense, style of jeans, opinions on brunch, to deeper differences, work ethic, and identity politics, there are many issues that divide us. But as a millennial who has spent the past 15 years hearing my generation were snowflakes whose penchant for avocado on toast was to blame for the world's economic problems, I have sympathy for our younger counterparts. While our while our pro, profligate proliferate ways were branded the root of all evil and the cause behind our inability to afford houses costing 10 times our salaries, Gen Z's more frugal approach has seen them condemned for killing the club and pub scene. We can't win, whichever side of the 90s divide we were born on. So join me, an 80s baby, as I document the Gen Z traits I'm actually quite jealous of. Astrology Chat. This is such a Pisces thing to say. This was a Gen Z's response to my assertion that I didn't really believe in star signs, and it's quite possibly the perfect comeback. I still think it's a load of cobblers, but I have a curious envy for the way that people in their 20s can chat for hours about birth charts and rising signs, what the moon is up to at any given moment. These people are delusional. These people are delusional, and Gen Z is increasingly wrapped up in witchcraft. Astrology seems to make the most fertile of small talk, while simultaneously while simultaneously providing the answers to life's big questions. Why didn't that relationship work out? Mercury was in the retrograde. Why didn't you get that job? The planetary alignments were off. Why can you never find a parking space? You were born under a wolf moon on a Tuesday at 4:02 a.m., while Venus was doing something kinky with Saturn behind the bike sheds. It's the perfect way to pretend The roiling chaos of the universe makes some kind of sense. Therapy speak. In my day, when a man was being a commitment phobic, Mr. Big Style Enigma, friends passed around tattered copies of the rules, and he's just not that into you, reminded each other to play hard to get, but easy to be with, and endorsed the inevitable slide into insanity when you pretended to be breezy while desperately waiting for him to call. These days, I overhear younger colleagues talk about attachment styles. He's classic avoidant. That's why he's pulling away. Internal family systems. His inner child is terrified of being abandoned. And love languages. He's he's act he's acts of service on physical touch. With such aplomb, they sound like they could set up a private therapy practice. While accusations of gaslighting and red flags and toxic traits can get bandied around with too much reckless abandon for my liking, Gen Z's understanding of behavior and ability to communicate their own needs is a marvel to behold. Even if men continue to be commitment phobic a-holes, at least the youngsters can deploy some Jungian theory to explain why. So Gen Z are the most mentally ill generation. They are the most medicated generation, and they're all in therapy. Many Gen Zers have spent time in a mental hospital. In fact, many Gen Zers have spent numerous time have been in mental hospitals numerous times throughout their lives. These people are godless, so instead of turning to God, they turn to astrology. Instead of turning to family and community, they turn to therapy. Okay, these people are not to be respected. It's just that they are disconnected from God, humanity, and even and their inner selves. These people are quite soulless. Flawless makeup. Since the age of 16, my makeup routine hasn't changed. A flick of liquid eyeliner, sweep of mascara, concealer doing the increasingly heavy lifting of covering my eye bags, a bold lipstick to distract from the rest of my face. It's quick, it's serviceable, and it was perfectly adequate until Gen Z grew up watching YouTube tutorials that meant every single one of them could legitimately launch a side hustle as a professional makeup artist. They don't just cover their spots and call it a day. They transform from regular person to A-lister. They look more done than I did at my sister's wedding. There are layers and contours and ersatz, cheekbones created by products I've never even heard of, all finished off with a polished, dewy glow. I feel like I brought a knife to a gunfight. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why Gen Z is also aging rapidly. Makeup ages you. I remember years ago when I watched an episode of Full House, and there was this episode where DJ was like in middle school, I believe, and she ended up putting on makeup, and you know, she ended up looking ridiculous. And then basically on Becky explained to her that the concept of makeup is not to hide yourself, but rather to make it look like you're not wearing any makeup at all. To be very clear, makeup ages people. It ages women. This is the reason why Gen Z is aging so rapidly. When I was growing up, most girls did not wear a lot of makeup. Okay, like literally, it was like it was like lip gloss, a little bit of lip. Like I know what they used to do, a little bit of lip gloss, and you know, very small amounts of makeup. They did not wear this amount of makeup. They couldn't wear this amount of makeup. All right, it was really simple stuff, and they still looked young. They had to at least look, someone like themselves when they took off the makeup. It was small stuff. If a girl washed her face, usually she would still look like herself. Today, it's completely different. It's a whole different person. Whole different person. This is one of the reasons why Gen Z is aging so poorly because of all the makeup that they use. By age 13, they're covered in makeup. They eat junk food every day, and then you wonder why they're not doing well, why things aren't going so well for them. Like seriously, we need a wake up call. Beautiful boundaries. To have boundaries, to be able to clock off at 4:59, refuse to respond to urgent messages, or pick up the phone to your boss because it's out of hours. Explain that Explain that you didn't complete your project on time because the stress was impacting your mental health, all without the merest whisper of guilty conscience. It is a concept as alien to millennials as swapping out our skinny jeans for denim without elastane. Better yet is the creeping Gen Z tendency to use boundaries as a shorthand for avoiding anything overtly onerous or unpleasant. Don't fancy hanging out with that friend going through a rough patch who keeps ruining the vibe by crying? Don't. Boundaries. Not keen to stay late at work to hit your deadline? Don't. Boundaries. Too tired to have that awkward breakup chat with your new boy? Don't sweat it. Boundaries. Just send an emoji. It's just send an emoji instead. Speaking of, this is absolute garbage. It took me till my mid 30s to be confident enough with even the most basic emoji use. I have a roster of around 10 in my lexicon, proudly added into messages to add a little creative flourish. Now I've discovered that every emoji in my capsule portfolio is woefully uncool, marking me out as ancient and chigi, a word invented by Gen Z to further mock us try-hard millennials. The younger generation grew up fluent in this pictographic language they can barely read, and they use it effortlessly. While the digital natives they are, communication levels and layers of meaning I will never come close to comprehending. Sobbing face, crying laugh, laughing face, upside down smile. Yeah, they're not brilliant, bro. You can just basically update your lexicon very quickly and just research a bit of what they're doing. They're not clever. A lot of them can barely read, and they're not that great with technology. They're not good at communicating because they basically sit around on their phones all day. They can't have a face to face conversation with one another, and they're extremely irresponsible. If you have a job to do and you simply just don't feel like it, you get burnt out regularly, so you just pick up and walk out of work midway through the day and don't tell anyone you're leaving. That's extremely irresponsible. Okay? This puts people at risk. And the fact that you have millennials that are they are idolizing godless Gen Zers who don't believe in God, don't want to have anything to do with God, do not, their methods of communication is by avoiding communication. Oh, don't want to have to deal with a breakup? You don't. Boundaries. Don't want to tell your boss that this job is not working out for you and quit up front? Oh, don't. Boundaries. Let them figure it out for themselves. You know, guys, this is basically dodging responsibility and not refusing to do adulthood, refusing to do life. And many of these people are just living off their parents. They're depending on their parents to subsidize their living. When you don't have mommy or daddy anymore to keep a roof over your head, to put food in your belly, to catch you if you fall, it changes. Gen Z are extremely responsible, but it's not going to last forever. They're not always going to have their parents to fall back on. They're not always going to have men to use to subsidize their living. The state is broke and they're not going to be able to live off the state. They think they are. They think that we're going to have a great era of socialism ushered in. It's a whole joke. Life is hard. And I'm telling you right now, a lot of Gen Xers see it. And Gen X is planning a takeover. Gen X is going to take full advantage of hard times. Where people see hard times, Gen X sees opportunity, while Gen Z basically just wants to sleep, pass, pass gas and play video games. Guys, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work out. Millennials need to stop idolizing these individuals. Gen Z is heading down a path of destruction and destitution, and their future is not bright. Many of them are aging so rapidly that for the average Gen Zer, the middle age is right around 15 to 25, based on who you ask. This is why I said many will not see 30. All right, this is a sad reality because of the poor decisions and poor lifestyle of Gen Zers. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, subscribe to our newsletter for my personal thoughts, insights, and a free copy of my ebook, The Blueprint for Escaping the Rat Race. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. Also, subscribe to the Angry Guy Clips channel where we post shorter videos and video responses, and also the Angry Guy Live channel where we live stream. Both channels are linked in the description. Finally, protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Click the link in the description to get started and support the channel. Guys, what do you think regarding this? More millennials want to live like irresponsible Gen Zers. Let me know your thoughts and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.